Because the truth is, being mysterious online is a privilege that you earn through showing up, being visible, and being perceived at first. And we have to just accept it. Let me tell you, one of the things that triggers me so much when it comes to the internet and social media is when someone says, oh, I just want to post, like, drop my announcement and go, like Beyonce or Adele. Like, honestly, if I hear people say that, I'm like, I want to scream. I want to like jump and be like, guys, can we get a grip? And it's been something that I have spoken about in the past, but it came flying to the forefront of my mind after Kendrick released this music video and people were saying the same thing. So someone on Twitter goes, my goat uses social media just to post music and go, no silly games, beautiful video. And someone else replied, which is a reply I would have loved to say, who is literally like, Kendrick's minimal use of social media works because of who he is and where he's at in his career. If you're still building, don't copy this strategy, it doesn't work. And that was endorsed and co-signed by other brand founders, successful brand founders, that this idea is a complete fallacy and we should stop borrowing one for one. You can be inspired by, but we shouldn't be borrowing one for one from organizations, people, talent, businesses that are A, at a different stage in their maturity, but B, also blew up in a time that was different from this time now, right? So when people talk about Kendrick, when people talk about Beyonce, when people talk about Adele, that was not the internet age. And what artists have to do now and how they have to exist in the world is very different. And I think sometimes we romanticize that. I think we want our content to feel, mysterious. We want to feel effortless. We want to feel like we just woke up and walked into success. We don't want to be seen trying. We don't want to be seen trying because it feels cringe. It feels like you're begging for it. It feels like you're putting yourself out there. But the truth is you kind of have to. Another thing when it comes to talent and when it comes to like celebrity specifically is that we overlook all the other things that exist because we are in our world of like social media first, and we typically only see the internet, we see billboards, but we sometimes forget that there's all these other things that exist around celebrities that are working overtime to do their marketing. So I'm going to cover a couple of them just to lift the veil a bit and show you how much even your most chilled, low-key celebrity is doing to orchestrate the attention that they require when they are going to launch a brand, when they are going to launch their next album, when they have something to say and bring to the world, right? So let's run through a couple of them, and let's also, maybe where possible, start to think about how that could translate to what you're working on or what you're aspiring to or what you're doing at the moment, right? So let me bring out my trusty checklist. There's a bunch of stuff, and I've taken Adele and Beyonce as the examples because actually in the work that I've done, that those are the artists that people cite the most. And I'm just like, this is very curious because especially someone like Beyonce, she has been working, it's 2025, she has been working since before I was born. I'm pretty sure that I grew up with Beyonce. When I say that I grew up with Beyonce, I'm realizing that a lot of people these days, they don't actually know that that history includes like being in a band. Beyonce was in a band in the 90s, right? In like 1996, they had their second album. Beyonce had a second album in 1996. It's 2025. That was nearly 30 years ago, right? So when we talk about the ability to swoop in, drop something and move on, it's earned, right? From all of these years of doing small gigs, like doing dancing competitions, all these things. Adele did the club circuit, the festival circuit for years and years and years, and has built that up for a reason. And again, when you say Adele versus when you say me, let's say me, or you say you're a creator, the amount of recognition that name gets is very different. So we have to do things a little bit differently. Other things that include in like a long history of like people's marketing is music videos, right? I don't think people understand how much music videos cost. A music video can run you into the six figures easily. And now these days, most artists can't afford that because they don't have, even if they have a big record deal, record companies are a bit more resistant to that because we've all moved online and it's not on TV, and there's a whole economic implication. But I have also worked on music videos. I know how much money they cost. And so if you feel like, people are doing things effortlessly, all they have to do is post their social media post and go, no, it's because they invested time, money, effort, creativity into doing all these other things that sit around it. One of those is including music videos. Endless TV shows and appearance are the next thing on the list. Publicists will run you into the 4, 5, and sometimes 6-figure retainers monthly, right? Depending on what you're trying to do. It is not a cheap exercise. They make sure that you are hosting TV shows, you're appearing on things, you're in the right place at the right time. And the time and effort that you put into your social media is going to be for the most part, a lot more affordable and a lot less effort than all of those things. There are people have teams, dozens of people working behind the scenes for them. So when we compare ourselves and we think, I want to just do this effortlessly, this person didn't just wake up and post album cover that they designed themselves. They had a shoot, they had a team behind it. There's so many layers. And it's crazy to think about how that's even evolved in the internet age, right? So I've said in the past that celebrities are the OG content creators. They may not always post on their Instagram, but content is always being made. So for example, there are some people, some artists, I may not mention their names, but I'm sure you'll think of some, who you love their street style. You love the outfits that they wear when they're going to get a coffee, when they're meeting up with their friends. My question to you is, how do we know what they wear when they're going on the street? It never just happens. As much as people want it to feel like it is, and they want this idea of like people are chasing after them, paparazzi are called, and I know this because I actually know people who work with their paparazzi to take content for them. Paparazzi are called. There is a photographer called Diggsy, who posts online, and like this is his job, right? So it's not as if he's just walking down the street and he gets content. Like, people are called to take pictures of celebrities in certain outfits because an outfit creates a narrative. And there's like loads of resources out there of stylists these days explaining how good style, especially good street style, not just red carpet, but street style, helps an artist or helps a public figure continue to elevate. So you're thinking, oh, I just loved what so-and-so wore when she was getting a coffee, but we don't know that that was planned, that was styled, and sometimes the brand has paid for that person to collaborate with them in that way. They may not even need to post it on their social media, but that's because they have press, they have commentators, social media commentators covering their outfits back to front. So that is something to be like really aware of, right? And then also fan pages. I just spoke about like social media commentators. One of the things that I find really entertaining is how a lot of brands, this isn't even just artists, but there are some luxury brands who are famously not on social media, but they have fan pages that seem to post content. They post updates of new drops. They post, celebrities spotted in the airport wearing the outfits. And, sure, you might say some of these are fan pages, young people who have a lot of spare time. But sometimes I notice that the sequencing of what they're saying, or the language that they're using, or even the other high-profile people that are tagging the account, there is obviously a relationship here. Some of the people who are archiving are very experienced. They are adults. They need to put a roof over their head. Who do you think is funding them? So whichever way you slice it, whether you're posting to your channels or you're not posting, work is happening somewhere else. Content is being created somewhere else. And I think what's more interesting to watch is, even as brands and celebrities have continued to expand their portfolio beyond like being a music artist or an actress or et cetera, is they have also had to look into this fact that even if they do all of those things for their personal brand on other platforms, when it comes to selling a physical product, you just got to post, right? And I think one of the days that really dawned on me was when Beyonce was promoting one of her perfumes. This was maybe like 2 years ago, and she posted an unboxing. It was the first kind of talking to camera thing she's ever done. Now with Sacred, she's done a bit of talking to camera elsewhere. But I remember watching that, and I think I posted it to my Instagram, and I said to people, I said, if even Beyonce could do an unboxing, I don't want anyone who works with me or reaches out to me to become a client to be like, well, I don't really want to post that, because even Beyonce understands the value of this, right? If we go on Rihanna's social channels, we see, again, continuous promotion for Fenty Beauty, for Fenty Hair, for Savage Fenty. You kind of can't escape it. And this like allure of like effortlessness and being mysterious and dropping in is just a myth. It only exists, again, if you've already attained a certain level, but even in certain types of businesses, it's still not always sustainable, right? And I think this is something that we just need to like free ourselves from. I know it's intense being perceived. Like, people always assume that I don't struggle with that. I struggle with that so much. I'm a true introvert. I'm not someone who wants to be out there online, but I understand I have things to say. and I understand the value that the internet has offered in terms of building community. I've met so many cool people just by showing up. And the question I guess I have to you guys is like, how will you continue to show up? Don't hide behind things. Remember what I said, like being mysterious is something that you get when you've earned the privilege to do so, after you show up, after you are being perceived, after you are being visible. And it doesn't mean that you have to do that with like no curation at all. Like choose what you want to do. You know, we spoke last week about this idea of like being strategic in the content that you put out and thinking about what your end goal is. But just remember that it's not coming easy to anyone. Even your favorites, even your faves, it's not coming easy to you. So for us, I think like don't be too hard on yourself. You know, test things out, give things a go, and just see where it might land you.